Imagine a time before time, when the universe was raw and untamed. On the peak of Mount Olympus, the very sky itself seemed to boil. Thunder ripped through the air, and dark, angry clouds swirled like a cosmic storm. This was the stage for a conflict of epic proportions. The Titans, the old gods, colossal beings of immense power, stood defiant. Their leader, Kronos, the king of the universe, looked down from his mountain throne, his brow furrowed with rage. His own children, the young and ambitious Olympians, were daring to challenge his absolute rule. At the head of this rebellion stood Zeus. He wasn't just a challenger. He was a storm personified. In his hand, he clutched a thunderbolt crackling with raw, untamed energy, and his eyes burned with a fire that promised a new era. Beside him, Athena, the goddess of wisdom, stood poised and serene. Her intellect was her weapon, a blade of pure light, ready to cut through the chaos of war. Then there was Poseidon, who raised his mighty trident, and the oceans themselves roared in response, surging with violent waves. And from the depths, Hades, the lord of the underworld, emerged. He opened the gates to his dark realm, and shadows crept across the land, ready to consume any who stood against them. The war for the cosmos, the Titanomachy, had begun. The first clash was cataclysmic. The impact of their blows shattered mountains and sent tremors across the world. Lightning wasn't just in Zeus's hand. It was everywhere, scarring the heavens. The Titan Hyperion, whose very being was blinding light, charged forward. His brilliance clashing with the radiant power of Apollo, the Olympian god of light. The Titan Zeus, a master of strategy, used his divine intellect to probe for weaknesses in the Olympians' formations. The battlefield was a whirlwind of power, a chaotic dance of gods where every step could reshape the world. Zeus was a force of nature. He hurled thunderbolt after thunderbolt, each one a deafening explosion that shattered cliffs and sent titans reeling. But this wasn't a war of brute strength alone. Athena was the conductor of this divine orchestra of battle. She directed the Olympians with flawless precision, her strategies ensuring they struck with maximum impact while avoiding harm to their own. Far below, Poseidon commanded the seas, summoning gargantuan waves that crashed down upon the Titans, washing away their advances from the coastlines. Hades played his part from the shadows, using the encroaching darkness to divide the Titan forces, creating confusion and opening fatal gaps for the Olympians to exploit. This wasn't a skirmish. It was a grueling, decade-long war. 10 years of constant battle. Every year, the earth quaked. Every day, the heavens clashed. The Titans were unbelievably powerful, their strength rooted in the primal forces of the universe. But the Olympians had something more. They had resilience, a burning desire for a new world, and they fused their individual strengths with brilliant strategy. The furious god of war, Ares, charged headfirst into the fray, his battle cries echoing across Olympus as he carved a path through the enemy ranks. This was a test of power, yes, but also of wit, teamwork, and divine skill. The war reached its climax after a decade of chaos. Drawing upon all his power, Zeus unleashed the mightiest thunderbolt ever forged. It was a spear of pure cosmic energy that struck Kronos down, shattering his reign forever. With their leader defeated, the remaining Titans fell. They were rounded up and imprisoned in Tartarus, the deepest, darkest abyss in the underworld, bound by unbreakable divine magic. The Olympians had won. They stood victorious atop Olympus, the new masters of the cosmos. The Titanomachy was so much more than just a fight. It was a profound story about the very nature of power. It symbolized the shift from old, raw strength to a new order, balanced by wisdom, strategy, and perseverance. The Olympians learned that true strength is never just about might. It requires intellect and coordination to be complete. And the Titans learned a harsh lesson, that even absolute power, if it lacks strategy and the ability to adapt, is destined to fall. For the mortal world below, this war was a spectacle of divine change. The transfer of power from one generation of gods to the next. The victorious Olympians established a new order, and from their reign, a light of hope shone down, illuminating the path for humanity. The Titanomachy ended, but its echoes live on. You can still hear them in the rumble of thunder, see them in the crash of waves, and feel them in the silent, imposing presence of the mountains. It's a timeless reminder that true power isn't about dominance, but about the wisdom to balance authority with responsibility. Thanks for journeying back to ancient Greece with us. If you love mythology as much as I do, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you do unmiss our next adventure. See you next time.